Everything had come to an end. My money, my friends, even my pride. Only a single coin remained, and a golden dome gleaming through the rain, framed in my eyes on that stormy night. That very coin. I wished the earth would open its mouth and swallow me, so that I could be freed forever. I was someone of worth. I had credibility. My name carried weight, and my words found buyers. But the earth is round, and when a man strays from its axis, it turns against him. I do not know how it happened, but it was as if I too had drifted away from the axis. The domino of troubles had begun. Projects came to a halt, funds were frozen, and from partners and friends there was no trace left. One by one, the creditors arrived. Some of those who had once thrived at my table now resembled hyenas, sharpening their teeth for the carcass of my remaining possessions. It was my wife who answered the creditors, though some she could not even dare to face. She was the only one who had remained by my side. I was ashamed before her. For a man, there is nothing harder than having his wife respond to his creditors. A few weeks passed. I felt like a complete bankrupt, utterly desperate. I said to my wife, "All doors have been closed to me. Only one remains." She thought I wanted to run away. She asked, "Where to?" I said, "I am going to Mashhad," something I have not done for Imam Riza before. Yet perhaps the protector of the gazelle may find a reason to untie the knots of my fate. My wife said, "But you don't even have the money for the journey." I was grateful to God for such a wife. Once again, she set aside her pride and borrowed money from her brother. She packed my bag. It was light, yet neither my heart nor hers was so. Both were heavy, laden with sorrow and grief. In one way or another, I reached the sacred shrine. No special visitation, no supplication. I even forgot to ask for permission. I stood still, my eyes fixed upon the shrine. Tears welled up, like a child who, after years of separation, has found his father and now pours out all his sorrows at once. "Master, I am utterly alone. The ground has been pulled from beneath my feet. All have turned their backs on me. No friend, no companion. And now I have come to your doorstep, O guarantor of the gazelle, O compassionate Imam." A few hours passed, and my tears had dried. I said to myself, let me renew my ablution and perform a prayer. Perhaps a relief may come. Suddenly, I realized my bag was gone. Even within the shrine, my pocket had been picked. I was about to explode with grief. Distressed, I turned back toward the shrine. "Did you not see? You who behold all things, you who have full knowledge of every heart, you know what I am going through, and yet you saw it all and did nothing." Angrily, I stormed out of the shrine. I was drenched in sweat, and the rain was falling. I was walking, just like in the movies, aimlessly, lost both in the streets around the shrine and in my own thoughts. Unconsciously, I found myself once again facing the shrine. My eyes fell upon the golden dome. The gleam of the golden dome under the gentle drizzle transformed my state. I pleaded with His Eminence, "Even you, Master, will you too abandon me? We have no refuge, no sanctuary, except you and your noble family." Like so many helpless pilgrims who have sought refuge, I too, involuntarily, began to whisper, "O King, grant me your shelter." In that very moment, a coin slipped through the hole in my pocket, rolled down along my weary leg, and came to rest beside my shoe, until I bent down to pick it up. That coin was the means of salvation in the storm I had chosen for myself. In despair, I resolved to return to Tehran, but I had no money for the journey back, nor did I have the face to ask anyone for help. It occurred to me to use this coin at a public phone booth to make a call. Whoever answered, I would tell them my story. Perhaps they might help cover the cost of my return. I dropped the coin and dialed a number at random. The first 2 or 3 times the line was busy, until finally someone answered.
Hello?
With a trembling voice, I said, "Sir, I am a pilgrim of Imam Riza. I have no money to return, not for my sake, but for the sanctity of Imam Riza. Please, grant me a kindness." There was a few seconds of silence. Then hurriedly he said,
Where are you?
"I don't know."
Ask someone for the address. Give it to me. Stay right there. I will come for you.
In less than 20 minutes, a car pulled up in front of me. He said, "You are a guest of Imam Riza, peace be upon him," and he took me to his home. There he offered me the warmest hospitality. After lunch he asked, "What is your story?" And so I told him the whole story of my life, from beginning to end. I myself did not know how it had happened that my tongue had been loosened. "How much do you owe?" 200 million toman. "How much do you need to stand on your feet again and restart your business?" 70, 80 million toman. He told me to wait, and after a few minutes he returned with 2 checks. 200 million toman. "Take it. Settle all your debts. And here is 80 million more. Work. And whenever your business finds its footing, return it. And if my life does not last until then, it is entirely yours, with my full blessing." I was stunned. I said, "Why? You have shown me the utmost generosity, but I cannot accept this money. I must know from where it comes and for what reason you are doing this." His eyes grew moist and he said, 2 years ago my son developed a brain tumor. After countless expenses and visits to doctors, we achieved nothing. In the end, they said, "Take him to London. Perhaps something can be done there." There were 3 tests. The first 2 had come back positive. If the last one also came back positive, it would have been the end. I went to a corner of the hospital, weeping in despair. A nurse who saw my condition said, "Do you know how to pray? Then pray. No one else can do anything now." It was as if a hammer struck my head. I, who lived off the blessings of Imam Riza, who was a merchant, whose very life had been granted by His Eminence. Was I to be reminded by a nurse that I should pray? I had forgotten. It seemed that all my misfortunes stemmed from this single word, forgetfulness. I spoke with Imam Riza. I said, "Forgive me, for I was wrong to forget you. If you show me your grace and return this son to me, then for one of your pilgrims who may be in distress like I am now, I will do whatever lies within my power. I will spare no effort for any pilgrim you send my way." In short, the test result came back. The boundless grace of the noble Sultan encompassed me. The result was negative, and my son was saved. But 2 years passed, and there was no sign of that special guest of His Eminence until last night. The Master of the world appeared in a dream to this lowly servant and said, "Tomorrow someone will come, thinking that all doors have been closed to him. He is that guest of ours. Spare no effort for him. And today you called. Now I swear by that same Imam Riza, have I not given my all? Are you satisfied?" I said, "Satisfied. I am ashamed before you and before Imam Riza, humiliated and remorseful. My heart was deeply broken by His grace and by my own conduct. I returned to the shrine and stood before Panjere Fulad. I went over it all in my mind, the chain of my troubles, the events of the journey, the the coin that rolled and came to rest at my feet, the head I bowed, and the hand that saved me from the bankruptcy of both this world and the hereafter. It seemed to me that only then had I truly become a merchant. After all that had happened, I had come to understand what the finest goods of this world are, and who the best buyer of the universe is. Tears streamed down my face. Once I was relieved and my heart completely at ease, I found the courage to say, "My Master, you have showered me with your grace. Once again, you have shown me kindness and favor. You granted me both this world and bound me to this sacred threshold. Now I wish in these times to also give my all for you by your own grace. Tell me, how shall I give my all? You show me the way." It was as if an answer came from the unseen realm. My gaze became fixed upon the tear-streaked face of a pilgrim who, in the midst of reciting a supplication, suddenly rose to his feet, placed his hand upon his head, and bowed in reverence. A lover of Imam Riza, a devotee of the Al-Bayt, peace be upon them, in this age of trials and tribulations, how should we give our utmost for our benefactor, Imam al-Mahdi, peace be upon him?